yesterday.
I'm keeping my.
Well, it is a great day because it is a great day because I haven't seen these guys for 25 years. And we're all part of a big Hollywood production named Band of Brothers.
I didn't
We
know
all
about
played our part. We all brought our military skills
and we should
to the
have
show.
entered it into some festivals.
And Tom Hanks and Spielberg
but that's what we
appreciate
because I did another short film after and it did really well.
Some of the guys here have gone to be
the way we did
stunt coordinators.
we would have got some because it was,
But it's just great to see you. And it was the COVID that stopped the last few years.
I let you keep the binoculars, remember?
Yeah, you still have it.
My friend wanted
it. He's alright, but
I gave them to you.
yeah, but
and it's a very appropriate weekend for Band of Brothers reunion because there's a VE day here this week in this village which was occupied by about 250 American troops in World War II. So this is where it all happened.
right there.
Well, they have some stuff on display there.
So this is just like a scene from Band of Brothers because you've got the American flags up there. We had some massive camps at Hatfield Aerodrome and mainly American camps. Not all the planes were authentic. We had some cardboard cutouts. But the one thing I do remember from the camp was the Sherman tanks, which were fucking massive tanks, and they were so heavy that we had to put wood under the tracks to stop them from sinking into the soil. Captain Dye made us do that.
Betty,
Miserable cunt, where are you?
Yeah, where are
to be
you?
honest, if you're doubling someone,
I miss you.
that's all you're going to see.
That's it.
I don't know.
But seriously, guys, we're going to try and make this more of a regular thing, aren't we? You know, we're a part of a big Hollywood production, and we all do
That's why turning point.
a turning point, or turning in our grave.
I know where I went from it. But I think everyone diversifies and very.
We did. Hey Yank, you got me a bar of chocolate? Give this Tommy a bar of chocolate. You usually got loads chewing gum.
You don't want the chocolate.
Stockings. Dark chocolate, like I don't mind, as long as it's American chocolate. Yeah. You've blown your cover now, guys. We all know where you are. This is a Revolutionary War. The Continental Army are here.
Yes, sir.
Where's George Washington, guys? Where's George Washington?
But actually, I spent 10 years in the film industry off the back of it.
He doesn't
Really?
his
Well done that, actually, and I didn't even know we had a film industry before.
Yeah.
Do you remember, actually, it was Andy Jardine. Remember Andy Jardine?
because
I did one day on Band of Brothers,
portray that,
and it was a big, cool thing, and this, that, and the other, and I was like, I'm not doing this again. Confused. I met you that day, and then I got a phone call from Laura.
Laura, I remember Laura, yeah. Laura,
Oh,
yeah.
hello, Nick. The production.
really loved you.
Production.
Laura was nice. I think she's still there.
I
Yeah.
wondered if you'd be interested in being the stand-in for Damien Lewis and David.
Yeah, there's a resemblance.
And I was like, to be honest, I don't think this is really for me. And then there's this one guy called Andy Jardine, I've never met before, and he said, excuse me mate, I just overheard your phone call, and that job that you've just turned down, every one of these blokes in here, there's like 1,000 blokes in here, wants that job. And I said, like,
Anyway, so
what
they were all
is it?
sitting around.
And he told me what it was. And I was like, oh, yeah, maybe I should do that then. So I ran casting technical. I said, actually, I will do that. And
Bloody right.
There was a few birds
otherwise we wouldn't be here now. Is he actually 50 yet?
Then they challenge the will.
So we need to do a pass.
In the middle of the driveway.
This thing, sleeping there. And then down
Yeah.
Oh, you wrote it on?
Yeah.
And you got Dale Dye's signature on there, Captain Dye.
Yeah.
Captain Dye was one of the chief military advisors on Band of Brothers.
One of?
Yeah.
One of them.
Is he?
I'm drunk. It's a lunatic. Oh, awesome. Hoorah! Look at that. Well done, you, man.
Suck it.
Yeah, that's been over a good couple of years.
Bliskin, you might have to have that one as well. Tupoborski. Yeah. Tupoborski.
Best in the world.
Sammy.
It's Sammy. Sammy Tupoborski.
Bruce,
Versatile.
you haven't changed, Bruce. You haven't changed. Unique sense of humour.
Thank you. I hope I have. I don't want to.
This is really a signatory moment for me, and Chris is right there in front of me. Frank's not here.
It's suicide, scorned and all that. Yeah.
I was the medic at the end.
Yeah, you was the medic, Chris. Yeah,
I don't know if there is that shot.
So that the battle scenes were filmed at the same place as there's Spielberg. There is. I think there's a close-up. I think there's a close-up of you in there as well.
So there's the close-up when I'm in.
At the end of the movie. At the end of the movie, when you go up to Tom Hanks. Yeah, there you are. Is that you? Oh, there you are. There you are. Yeah. We worked with some great directors: David Nutter, Tom Hanks, Spielberg himself. It was a great show, and people are still watching it today and appreciate today. So, welcome to the wonderful busy village of Aldbourne.
Yeah. So I'm the guy, the medic.
Yeah. And didn't they keep that village for Band of Brothers? Because from one direction it was German. The same site, yeah. Right in the middle of Hatfield Aerodrome.
If you take a square, that side's got a Dutch, French, German.
That's right.
So whichever way you're looking at.
Yeah. Because one of the guys came from that part of Holland and he said it was really accurate, dead accurate.
There's a bench here which Winters used to come and sit down at all the time. Right.
Captain Richard Winters, by the way, was the head of the 101 Airborne Division, Band of Brothers.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, 'cause he met a local girl.
I remember watching Spielberg going on a few more bullet holes here, and the guy was drilling, and then there was. And I was here, and I was just watching Spielberg. A few more bullet holes here, and just they were drilling the plaster, and then dirtying it down. Amazing. So I was the medic at the end.
So this was probably full of American soldiers. When did America enter World War II? 1942 was it? I think it was about halfway through. Well, this is my friend Wagner, who I haven't seen for at least 20... Wagner, as in Richard Wagner. Wonder. So, I don't know, I've got Wagner on my mind. I've got Wagner on my mind. So, Wanda was one of our fellow German troops in Band of Brothers and a really professional soldier. And we were just talking about, we had a lot of explosives on Band of Brothers, but fortunately no one was injured. But did you have any near misses at all?
I did. I got a piece of metal embedded in my eye.
My God.
In Band of Brothers, and on episode 3 in AO.
Right.
I went to the hospital, and luckily I still can see.
Yeah, well, it's looking all right. Episode 3, I think that was David Nusser, wasn't it? David Nusser. And that's where we also worked with David Schwimmer. David Schwimmer, who was a really nice guy, David Schwimmer, I remember him. Because I remember they flew him over from New York because he was doing Friends at the time, and we had to do his bit in, it's very noisy here, in one weekend. But David, and he came and just went. But he was Captain Sobel, wasn't it?
Yeah. Sobel, Mr. Friend.
Yeah, and he did bear a resemblance to Sobel as well, didn't he? He did actually bore a resemblance to him. But we had some other great actors. I mean, Matt wasn't it the guy in Bourne Ultimatum? The little guy. Yeah.
I worked with him in Bourne Ultimatum in
Waterloo Station. Yeah, martial arts.
I nearly ran him over.
My God, he wouldn't got very far then, would he? You know,
I nearly ran him over. That was me in my car working, and I nearly ran him over.
And did the CIA persecute you after nearly killing one of their men? I imagine they probably did.
What's that?
I'm sorry to interrupt. There's some important stuff. Catering needed it. Do you want another beer?
I would love another beer, sir.
One of those Marjorie's?
Yes. Mad
Your teeth are so white. Your teeth are so white. In the tent and stuff, which they metal detected here. Yeah, like dog tags, bullets, all sorts.
Next day, so I'm filming on day 1, me shooting at you in America, and then on day 2, I'm an American shooting back at you.
Sounds like me as well. They chose me as a German, I think, because of my Teutonic looks and my blue eyes.
Oh yeah.
That was Captain Dye who did that. Yeah.
This is my personal.
Brilliant photographs, just.
Guy in the cap there, that's me attacking, so I was leading that one in. Yeah, some of these things, that's Bruce, guy in the cap again. So, yeah, it's just, so please just feel free to have a look. And this is you know,
so this is the actual bedroom, apparently, where Captain Dick Winters, head of the 101 Airborne Division, effectively leader of the Band of Brothers, stayed, and his Yankee colleague stayed in that room there. The memories, they just come flooding back. Mr. Hanks, you haven't changed at all. That's me, yeah.
Everybody for joining us here. I wanted to just do a little brief history of what happened and why Lieutenant Winters and Welsh arrived here in the village in the 16th of September 1943, and the officers were billeted down here and the band of brothers came here to the village. Dick Winters wasn't a big drinker and he was looking for some solitude, so he wandered up here to the churchyard and was sitting on the bench up there where he met Francis and May Barnes, who owned the shop at the time. It wasn't a post office back then, it was just the village shop, and it really was the hub, as it is now, of this community. They were tending the grave of their son Leonard, who'd recently been killed while serving in the RAF, and they struck up a conversation, and they really hit it off from that moment, and a lasting relationship was born. It was a little overcrowded in the other place that everyone was staying, so Francis and May offered to take 2 soldiers in, as long as Winters was one of them, and so they moved into the shop here, and they lived above where Eddie and I now live with our daughter.
Bruce saw the grave earlier. He befriended Winters, who's Damien Lewis.
Yeah.
He used to come and sit here when they were stationed here before D-Day. And he befriended a family, like I was saying, of the parents of some RAF pilot who was killed in the Battle of Britain, and he stayed with them. But he stayed in the post office, which is just down there as well, which is next on the guided tour.
Right.
And they lived up here in this room up here, which is now our living room, where our daughter watches YouTube, wouldn't you believe it? And up here, and where we ourselves have watched the Band of Brothers on our television. So we'd like to say thank you. We're really excited, to unveil our plaque here, which we've had to makeshift cover. And
So all of these guys have been involved in the military side of Band of Brothers and other movies like The Four Feathers and the one before Band of Brothers, Saving Private Ryan. And although it seems easy, like firing a gun and that, there's a lot involved. Like, for example, Band of Brothers, we never had any fatalities, but Equity were very, very strict with us on the weapons training. And every magazine and every bullet that we took from the armoury had to be returned to the armoury, or 99% of them. And when Captain Dye told us what we wanted to do, he said, he put salt and pepper pots here and the enemy's there, and this is what we wanted you to do. And a couple of times Steven Spielberg didn't like what we did. He wanted it, I remember one occasion he wanted it to look fuller, which we went back and we did it, and he wanted the Germans to be more like just like silhouettes running in the background, which I think we did very, very well. If you watch the series today, I think it stands up really, really well.
I'm just so fed up with the whole world shit. Oh yeah, I'm so fed up. Yeah, to support us, and Rick Gordon, who played very well to the Band of Brothers, and he was and I'll hand you over to Rick to tell you some more.
For obvious reasons, I don't feel qualified to talk about Dick Winters. We have other people here who can do that far better than me. But if you will permit me, I'd like to just say a few words about the other man named on this plaque. Unlike some of my contemporaries, a couple of whom are here today, who had the opportunity to meet the men of Easy Company they were tasked with portraying a quarter of a century ago now. Since Harry had passed away just 5 years before, in 1995, I never had that privilege. But to a man, the 101st veterans I have met subsequently, all veterans in fact, have all balked at any attempt to single them out. And I feel pretty confident in saying that Harry would have felt and behaved in the same way in response to this occasion. But that being said, I think it's important to know and to commemorate here that behind the service and of course the sacrifices of American soldiers on European soil 80 years ago behind that broader picture there are always real people with real individual stories.
So we've got some real Yankee hardware here, and Spielberg got a lot of British owners of this hardware. He hired it out for Band of Brothers for a number of months. Look at this. Real friendly tanks, scout cars, reconnaissance vehicles, recovery vehicles, you name it. We had them all on Band of Brothers.
And if connection to that truth through a plaque like this can help mark that, if Harry Welsh's story, a chapter of which indisputably took place in Oldbourne, right where we're standing, if his story can be emblematic, and crucially I think in his post-war role working in education Harry would concur, if it can help teach in any way, if people see the plaque and simply ask themselves who these men were, well then I'm honoured to be here on behalf of his grandchildren Colleen and Sean over in the States and to speak on their behalf.
It's a Sherman tank, which is what I mentioned earlier, which is one of the heaviest bits of material we had on Band of Brothers at the Ayotte estate, and you can see the size of that, very, very heavy. And as I say, we had to put wood, Captain Dye made us put wood underneath the tracks because it was sinking into the soil. I don't know why the Americans have to make them so heavy. Look at that. That's a Sherman. The T4s were big as well, and the Panzers were big. And one thing I remember about a Panzer was that it had an escape route, an escape door underneath.
As President will permit me, I will briefly and respectfully salute you.
It's the wrong number. You called him.
Give us a Frank Spencer. Bruce, do us a Frank Spencer. I've got a job interview in the morning.
Hello.
Brilliant.
I'm awfully sorry.
I've got a job interview in the morning.
I've got a job interview in the morning. It's a good one.
Have you changed your psychiatrist yet, Mr. Spencer? Masturbation psychosis, was it last time?
Oh, well, it's a funny story. I was telling her the other day that no, I haven't. No one will take me.
Are you still wearing the shin pads because of the rats in the warehouse?
No, right. No. Yes, I am.
But how is Betty? Betty, all right?
Betty's lovely, and so's the daughter. I've forgotten her name.
Jessica.
Oh yeah, she's
going to see.
But yeah, no.
Brilliant.
Mate, this is his new show reel.
Excellent.
I'll put this on spotlight. Very good.
Right.
I don't think there's a more appropriate day for a Band of Brothers reunion than today.
One bar up in
Now, can I say, sir, you look like a cross between George Armstrong Custer and Baden Powell, who was the head of the Boy Scouts movement.
It's original World War I US Army.
Oh, right. Right, sorry, yeah. I was a Boy Scout. There was some very Boy Scouts.
Your place. You got some...
Somewhere along Easy Company were around that section.
Right.
But it's sort of just weird because they say they're in one place but several places. So they were only doing the one day.
I saw the Time Team documentary. It was pretty good.
I was in the second one.
You were in the second one, yeah.
I was when that American reenacted the
What did they find? Bullets or anything?
Another pair of dog tags. All the stuff that was on that table was found in that dig.
So this is Aldbourne Heritage Centre, and you can see there's a number of artefacts here, including an episode where they filmed John Pertwee in Doctor Who there. in the 70s. They loved these sort of locations. There he is again. Probably my favourite doctor. And they're still doing archaeological digs up here, coming up with certain things. As I say, there was a number of Americans stationed here over World War II, and they're still finding dollars, coins, etc. being dug up.
Morning.
Metal detectors. I think that's Captain Richard Winters. His nephew's coming here today.
Let me just see if I can. He's just not taking very well.
Come on, boys.
Come on, guys.
Come in here. Come in the middle. Come in between. You hands between.
Yes, we are. Don't worry.
No, you can stay on.
Oh, you're going on one knee?
You got to.
He's doing the soldier stance. Jamie.
So Chris is saying that Chris works on Saving Private Ryan and Band of Brothers, and we were just saying that there's a housing estate where we shot Band of Brothers, and it's probably full of magazines and ammo underneath that housing estate. I mean, it was pouring with rain at the time, and we just couldn't pick everything up, Chris, could we?
It's completely levelled now. It's a parkland. You just get dog walkers. You wouldn't recognise it at all. The crossroads has been lowered, so we use GPS mapping, Google Maps, to stand in a position, and you can't equate or match any of the geographical features.
Really.
It's just completely.
It's such a shame, because I mean, I think one time Spielberg was talking about making a Vietnam epic there, wasn't he, after Band of Brothers, but I think it fell through, and he did the Pacific in Australia, didn't he?
Yeah.
Because Tony Blair went out of his way to get Spielberg to shot over here. He actually did that.
Tony Blair's son was actually.
I remember that. I remember walking around.
On Band of Brothers. Runners on Band of Brothers.
Walking around with a K98 rifle, wasn't he? If I remember rightly, with Billy Budd.
The one store.
So all us naughty people took a few photographs of the set on Band of Brothers. This is Chris's contribution, and you can see Band of Brothers film unit. And this is what is known as a Panzer Wehrmacht Grenadier. I think it's a K98 rifle, which was a standard German issue at the time. And the K98, most of them were authentic. You could still get about 6 or 7 up the spout if you wanted to. It was one of the early rifles just before it brought out magazines and the later weapons. This was at a place called Ayo Estate. This is some of the explosions there, which production was very, very serious about us using mobile phones because they could trigger a response from the pyrotechnics and blow one of us up, which you didn't want. So one or two people who ignored health and safety got kicked off set, and understandably so. So this really reminds me of my granddad's World War II photographs, because these are more black and white. There's a Scots guy there, and they could be from World War II. They actually could be from World War II, but they're not. And there you go. Remember that? 25 years ago, I can't believe it. Booker Red, can't remember him.
You can't see anything of it. Hatfield is completely unrecognisable now.
Well, it's such a shame, yeah. I must go and have a look. But apparently someone's saying the Ayo Estate, where we did a lot of battle scenes, that's still pretty much the same.
We went there last summer, probably about a year ago.
Right.
You can see the same tree lines, nothing has changed in the Ayo site.
Right.
You can see the same trees, you can see the same gaps in the hedges. You can replicate where you were, and we did some replication shots where we were. We can see where Chaz Jellis, who was the German Fallschirmjäger soldier.
We had some massive.
You can see that tree where he was. It's still very much.
We had Sherman tanks there, didn't we? The massive Sherman tanks. They were big. Not changed. I must go and have a look up there sometime. Yeah, reminisce.
We went to the bridge, the culvert. where
I remember that. Yeah, this is the blood and guts department. There's some of that.
How long have you been involved with? Do you want a tour of the village?
Great photographs. Panzer Grenadier, Wehrmacht. Got the Iron Cross there. He must have been very brave. This was all this is a housing estate today. It's such a shame because this is where we filmed a lot of the battle scenes. These are the standard American uniform. I think this is number 2 dress. In British Army have number 1 and number 2. So this would have been number 2 American dress, which is we think what you're wearing at the moment. These are the battle scenes. A lot of this we did on blue screen in one of the hangars at Hatfield Aerodrome, and that's the first time I met Tom Hanks, but it really looked the real thing. And one of the scenes was by La Seine in Paris, and quite honestly, you think you'd be in Paris once they'd married it up. And it was in the early days of blue screen, 25 years ago. They've perfected it today. This would have been in forest in the winter time, artificial snow. All of this, you remember, had to be built. The whole thing. I feel cold just looking at it.
Basically,
red.
Satan doesn't want no one else who's got a good look.
No one can take the memories from us.
Being in that. Yeah, is that the one which Sheehan's one which went down, or is that just a number?
Loads of them went down. I mean, some of them even gave the green light over the sea, and they all drowned. All the sticks drowned. I mean, it's terrible, really.
It's pretty cool, the Sherman over there.
Is there any reason why you chose American as opposed to British officer? Is it because it's more romantic? Is that the reason why?
Probably. My dad always take me to RAF Lakenheath.
Right.
Fan of aviation.
I see.
That's kind of where it's the American love.
I see. Yeah. Because I think in World War II there was 1 million plus American troops in this country, and they even modified the English accent. I believe Blackpool, I think there was about 50,000 American troops on the beach doing exercises in the morning. So they were here for a long time, and they left a few young English girls pregnant as well. Fours, we had chieftains, Saxons, we had everything there that day. And you remember that stuntman who went under the tracks? Yeah. I remember that day. Yeah. Was that him?
Right. Is he still?
For the whole job.
He's in LA now. Or is he coordinating like everybody else?
Yeah. He actually still performs, to be honest.
Does he?
I think they had was it a foam pit underneath this barricade.
It looked great, that.
Yeah,
it looked great.
And he gets crushed by the tank.
Yeah. Cleverly done. Very cleverly done.
Yeah, really. It takes a lot of balls to do that.
How'd you bring your market?
You heard what happened on Fury.
So it's kind of paradoxical. We were all soldiers, either American or German, and most of my work was a German work, and we had to make death and destruction. We turned death and destruction into an art form. A couple of guys here today are now stuntmen, doing very, very well, and they did their apprenticeship on Band of Brothers. We had some very, very talented people there. So it can be saying when you're making a war movie, or whatever war movie may be, whether it's Battle of the Bulge with Robert Shaw, whatever it might be, it's a science. You're trying to get it to look right for the cinema screen. And I do remember one of the chief military advisors was a guy called Sergeant McIntosh, Laird McIntosh, really nice guy, who military advisor and historian, and he was always constantly comparing what we did to other movies: Robert Shaw, Battle of the Bulge, Custer's Last Stand, the Battle of the Little Bighorn, all these other battles that he got what the directors want, mainly Tom Hanks and Steven Spielberg.